let's talk about freestyles. The art of the freestyle is one of the most fascinating and electrifying aspects within the art of rap. From platforms like Stretch and Bobbito, Rap City to Basement with Big Tigger, and today's LA Leakers with Just Incredible or On the Radar, hip-hop has always valued the craft of MCing and has been passionate about bringing freestyles to center stage. And why that is? I'm glad you asked. Let me break it down for you H2DG style. Freestyles are like ones in hoops. There ain't as many restrictions as there are in organized games. Players can bend the rules a little bit, play to different restrictions. Some players play to 7, but they gotta score in 3 dribbles max. Some players play to 11, but a missed shot is an automatic change of possession, no offensive rebounds. And some play to 21, no fouls. There are so many ways to play the game. But my main point in bringing this up is that I've always used this analogy in hip-hop because similar to how ones can showcase a player's skill set, like how well do they dribble, what's their go-to move, where on the court do they generally operate from. Freestyles can give listeners an appetizer for a rapper's overall style. What's their typical flow pattern? Are they punchline heavy? Is their delivery convincing? Is it confident? What kind of topics do they generally rap about? Now, on the flip side, while ones may show a player's skill set, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that they'll thrive in a 5-on-5 setting, right? In hip-hop, this means that while some artists can be really talented and skilled on the mic, it doesn't guarantee that they can craft a quality concept or album. In a nutshell, some aspects of the game come easier than others, and I want to make it perfectly clear that that's okay. Success exists at every level. Now, real quick, I gotta pivot just a little bit so we can address the elephant in the room. What truly is a freestyle? This has been an ongoing debate since the 80s. Now, if you know me and have followed my podcast, you know I'm old school. So when OGs speak, I listen. Big Daddy Kane once said in an interview that the term freestyle comes from a rap that is free of style, meaning that there's no conceptual subject matter, no restrictions, similar to my aforementioned basketball analogy.
In the 80s, when we said we wrote a freestyle rap, that meant that it was a rhyme that you wrote that was free of style. Meaning it's not a subject matter. It's not a story about a woman. It's not a story about poverty. It's basically a rhyme just bragging about yourself. So it's basically free of style. That's really what a freestyle is. You know, off the top of the head, we just call that off the dome when you don't write it and just say whatever comes to mind, you know?
Now, some people ever since have confused this to mean that a freestyle cannot be written. It has to come off top or improvised. And it makes sense, right? What's the best way to rap free of style? Free of mind. So some would say that yes, a true freestyle is not written. But given Big Daddy Kane's definition, contrary to popular belief, an off-top rap is a form of a freestyle. While certainly harder to execute and thus more impressive, it isn't the only form of freestyle. A written rap can still be free of style, have no central idea, and still be just as dope. And we've seen how that can be true for decades now. Of course, this is just my opinion, so if you want to go back and forth on it, go debate your uncle, because that's not what I do. Now that I've addressed that, as I said earlier, one thing that I enjoy about freestyles is the individuality that comes from them. Anytime I get put onto a new artist, or if I'm seeking inspiration from one of my favorites, I don't go to albums or projects. I try to find radio freestyles or even freestyles that were delivered in common areas, right? For example, the Mos Def freestyle Outside. Videos like that to get the inspiration going. And a big reason I do this, especially when being put on to new artists, is because freestyles let you know the kind of ideas that come to mind the most for the rapper, right? And obviously, like I said, it just gives a good litmus test of what kind of rapper they are. So you'd be surprised how much information you can get solely off a rapper's freestyle. Again, just like ones, right? We can all step into a gym and get an idea of like, okay, this guy studied Kobe, or this guy is more of a Tim Duncan than a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, she got a little Cappy Pondexter in her, but this girl, she a little bit more like Maya Moore. All right, let's look at some examples.
Have fun with them double entendres, as I beg your pardon from the nonsense that's sponsored. I'm non-responsive, just armed with a conscience that's in and out dimensions like triangular shape. Isosceles flying saucers, defying the laws of physics. My mind's like a luxury prison, ain't no escaping these bars exquisite. I breathe law and speak art exhibits. I'm black magic like Shaq spinning off his pivot. It's reaching. Dog, forget it. Even that metaphor was a metaphor for how it's hard to get it. Y'all ridiculous. Love to take facades and hype it. Like I ain't blessed with some I gotta guard my life with. A lot of rappers try hard to bite it, but they joints ain't nearly as tight as with this arthritis.
Just off this King Los freestyle from his LA Leakers appearance a few years ago, we can see that this dude is very intellectual, right? Intellectual in general, but he also has a high intellect for hip hop and the art of rap itself. Lauryn Hill and GZA from the Wu-Tang Clan instantly come to mind here for me. These qualities show through their subject matters, clever wordplay, punchlines, and word choice. Let's look at a few more.
It's war zone, hustling still. They say you gotta bear arms like Justin Fields. I quarterback black movements. Like the influence of black music, the confluence beyond nuance, and uncles. We were conduits for hot clothes and hustle. I ain't catch no cases like the NBA bubble. Too much talking and flexing stimulate trouble. Brothers gon' work it out, my mind is the muscle. I exercise thoughts divine and the subtle, like a blind man's rebuttal to see what I'm saying. Kaepernick of this rap. You see I ain't playing with these goofy rappers. I do movies, I know actors. It's all on your face, you ain't never been proactive.
One word that immediately comes to mind for Common is Afrocentricity. Obviously, fans of Common know that that's what he's been about pretty much his entire career. But even if this was your first introduction to him, you might say his rhymes are very positive, inspiring, and pro-black. Think Public Enemy, who could have also fit in my previous example, Rookie Tupac, Mos Def, or Queen Latifah, to name a few.
Yeah, rest assured, the best is here in the flesh, and that's for sure. The rest should wear my vest, I'm set for war. Press record, I send to address the Lord. Same flow to put your neck to sword, the same flow to just undress your. Take over, check the score. This is chess, better check your board. Who gave the world more fire but got less reward? No stress, my only guess is that less is more. More or less, 100 G's in my dresser drawer. I'm blessed, hope I arrest, don't arrest me for it. I'm new to it, my new crib got the Times Square view to it.
Now, while this is more of a recent freestyle in 2021, this is classic J. Cole right here. One thing about Cole is he's going to tell you, while showing you, just how nice he is. MCs like Cole, going back in time, Big L, Inspector Deck, Big Daddy Kane, even Kumo D. Artists that can spit clever lines while pumping their chest has always been a staple in hip-hop and will be sure to electrify a crowd.
I see some fools ain't smart cause they going against me. I've been rapping since Tyson punched Soda Popinski. On a whole nother level, I passed the elite. You could ask Red and Meth, I rip a Casio beat. Ribbit, chicks dig it, long as my click spit it. My Cadillac truck gets lower than 6. It's wood kitted, cost for 6 digits. I'll rip your eye out and play foosball with it.
Now, the first word that immediately comes to mind here is whimsical. Ludacris gets so playful, energetic, entertaining, and charismatic that you almost forget about his knack to bend or stretch words, use onomatopoeias, the ability to maintain a smooth flow, and have the braggadocio. All right, admittedly, there are many fans like myself who tend to favor the difficulty of crafting a well thought out, serious concept, right? But since its inception, hip hop was a way for us to have fun. And few have taken that baton like Luda has. Busta Rhymes would fit in this category as well.
Sick as I'm getting, they'll stick me in a conventional loving with a rotisserie setting and won't even notice me sweating. Shit, I done made a verse, said some foul, trying to go back, fix it. Around it, it's made it worse. Yeah, I'm back, looking no worse for wear. Got the mad enough to rip out the hair, start punching the air. Panties sewing a bunch if they can't function, it's shady and Royce. Yeah, what a dysfunctional pair. So stop acting like a punk, get a pair. Take a pill and fall the fuck out and spill your lunch in the chair.
People hated on how sophisticated my taste is. Then I pulled up on these in a spaceship, panther mind. I made the elements you can't combine. I'm at a level of intelligence you can't define. Einstein, Shakespeare, Voltaire, Tesla, recording artist / psychology professor. I preach for the East, never fold under pressure. The beats from the East and I glide like Clyde Drexler. Hey yo, my new name is 85 X's, cause I'm the rap game certified specialist. When I was reckless, I was worried about the guest list. I'm helping rappers everywhere, fulfill a death wish, yo flex. I'm glad we made contact. Also know this for combat. Brain matter contain too much data. I tell a story like fingerprints and blood splatter.
And lastly, there are MCs like Eminem and Black Thought, where you can tell that they are straight A, top of the class, valedictorians in this art of rap. They might showcase so many skills at once, you end up mind blown that a human being can rap that way. This is lyrical exercise. You know how sometimes you might work out with somebody and the warm-up seems just as intense as the workout itself? That's pretty much how it is with guys like Eminem, Black Thought, Lupe Fiasco. Their freestyles make you want to find out what they're like on their albums. So of course, these are just several examples out of many. I mean, I could have went all day. You know, when Biggie gets in front of a microphone and he freestyles, you know he's going to tell a story. Paul Wall is going to mention his grill, and a guy like Lil Wayne is going to give some unique sexual innuendo. A freestyle is always going to give a basic look at someone's rap bag, if you will. And the reason I was inspired to even make this video, which I'm surprised I just didn't come up with way sooner, but the reason I was inspired to make this is through a video I seen from a creator named B Souls. I often see his videos on TikTok, and he made a video recently where he asked, why is DaBaby so good at freestyle specifically? You know, and obviously with the basketball connection, he compared him to Hoodie Mello and Untucked Kyrie, right? How he just seems to get in a different bag when freestyling, right? Just like Hoodie Mello, that was a different offseason back in the day, right? Untucked Kyrie, you know, he tended to get in his bag a little bit more when that jersey got untucked. He felt the same way about DaBaby when it comes to like LA Leakers type of freestyles, you know, especially on those major platforms. And I think a lot of these factors play a role in why he's like that. I think he's just got a knack to flow on up-tempo beats, and freestyles give him the freedom to showcase his talent with nothing to inherently prove. You know, albums are a little different, obviously. Projects are a little different. You know, you got to sit down, you got to think of something. Obviously, the standard of the OGs have trained us to where we expect conceptual albums, right? So, unfortunately, there are a lot of artists today that don't really want to, and if I'm being quite frank, can't really keep up with that compared to some of the artists that we grew up listening to. And of course, that isn't to knock DaBaby. I think it's just a very real thing that's going on in rap/hip hop. But like I said, he doesn't really have anything to prove with a freestyle, you know. And again, with the basketball connection, 5-on-5, he might be all right, but he shines best at ones, right? Translation, project wise, he might be all right, he might be bad, whatever your opinion is. But freestyles, that's his bread and butter. So that's why he gets a little bit extra in his bag. That's why he seems to turn on and look like one of the better rappers of the era because of that. All in all, freestyles, whether written or off the dome, are one of the dopest and most traditional aspects of hip hop. At the end of the day, your favorite artists like to rap, and freestyles provide a more laid back environment for them to do so, as it brings them back to rapping, or you could say playing, simply for the love of the game. Comment below some of your favorite freestyles and anything else that stood out to you in this video. As always, keep it respectful and keep your head on a swivel between this platform and my podcast for even more in-depth basketball and hip hop content. See you in the next video.